you, sir, for, I don't know whether I deserved all this, so I was wondering whether this is coming out of ChatGPT or, but this obviously is not, because I don't think ChatGPT knows I like MDR or my fondness for Carnatic music or the joys of living in Chennai, and I feel it's like people living in Chennai and not listening to Carnatic music is like living in Chennai and not seeing the Marina Beach. It's so beautiful, and we also have a very beautiful river here called the Adaya River, and unfortunately it stinks most of the time. But there are few of us who keep going around in circles, and when we walk around circles in our club, in the Madras Club, we have numerous conversations, and one of our evangelical walkers is Dr. R.C. I never met anybody who was so upset about COVID as him. He felt it was a disease that could have been prevented, and it was medical incompetence which allowed COVID to thing. And I never heard that with anybody else, because everybody said that, oh my God, this is some Chinese virus which came in. And to think that globally, there were only few people who, like him, who had an idea that a small medicine could control inflammation and do it, and they were doing something completely medically wrong, was something that a doctor spoke, and I knew the anger he had in his mind when it was raging. This always makes us, and you might think that we meet over walks, we meet in the gym, he's very fond of me and we talk about various things. Very often, I'm curious. I was a quizzer and I'm always reading books and asking him questions. And, people have a notion that everything was great in the past. We lived for hundreds of years. Everything was fantastic in the past. That's all rubbish. Modern science has really helped us, and the reason some of us are sitting here and talking is because of modern science. To give you a perspective, in 1830, before modern medicine came in, the average lifespan in the world was 33 years. Can you believe that? 33 years. Major figures that we know died young. They could be kings like Swati Tirunal, they died young. They died young because there was some illness which we didn't know what happened. Massive amounts of populations died due to plague, due to cholera. And so the first big move by medicine was the control of infectious diseases. Can you imagine how many people would have been dying and how many mosquitoes bite us, but how many of us die of malaria now? Fleets died, sailors died because of scurvy. And as man understood more, we were able to control our infectious diseases to a great extent. And then comes the second stage, and we have systemic illnesses. In 1940s and 50s, after the war, we discover that industrial production of food starts. And industrial production of food starts, and people start buying processed foods. And that's where I think large amounts of sugar and salt start coming in. And when sugar and salt start coming in, and people start getting cardiovascular problems, and you discover that sadly after the Vietnam War, where young people are dying and their bodies are going through, what do you call that? Cadavers being opened. When you do a test after somebody's dead? Autopsy, yeah. So the number of autopsies reveal that young people have clogged arteries. So they say that, oh my God, all this is caused because we are taking too much fat. So for the next 20 years you say, don't eat butter, don't have coconut oil, don't have ghee, and only eat vanaspati. Come on, man. And now you're all eating oil hydro. And this went on for some time, and we had margarine instead of, oil, instead of butter. And we thought that is very good. So we said, let's have things like, fat-free milk. Milk without fat. Now, what are you drinking? But this kind what I'm trying to tell you is knowledge is not perfect. It's people understanding based on evidence that is coming in, and it's continuously changing. I lost my father when I was 15 years old. My father had a heart attack. He was 41 and he died. It was 1978. He could not be saved because he had acute arterial sclerosis. I remember reading his autopsy report. As a 15-year-old, reading your father's autopsy report, and it tells you what happened. But there's nothing you could have done because open heart surgeries came in only in the 80s. Stents came in 2000. So there is continuous progress that is being made. People delude themselves to believe that we lived in a golden past and everything was fantastic. But it is men of science and men of logic who combine the benefits of science to make it into something where it saves lives. And you know, there was a very interesting incident that so many friends of mine who have had problems with kidneys, especially in our field, I don't know why so many stars seem to be falling and losing their kidneys. And it's not new. MGR had the problem. And if you think that Tangabasmam will make you great, it will blow your kidneys, it will make your skin a little fair, and it will blow out. I don't know why now all the influencers tell, yeah, you have magnesium, magnesium glycinate, you sleep, your magnesium citrate will go to blue. And I've been also having magnesium, and I just saw the slide saying that magnesium is bad, so I'm going to ask him the next. I just have to memorize the fact that 1 gram of sodium is equal to 2.5 grams of salt. So that means that you can only have 5 grams of salt. So, you know, you need to memorize these things. The point what I'm trying to tell you is science is all around us. Sodium is all around us. Calcium is all around us. And if you have a little less of it, suddenly you're cramping and you're failing in sports. And most people think that you can drink some water and get out of it. No, they don't realize that the water is going to get absorbed in your colon. By the time it's going to go down through to your colon, it's going to take a long, long time. So if you want to perform in sports in Chepauk, you get a cramp, you drink water, nothing's going to happen. You should have been drinking it 30 hours back. The point is science is growing, and the problem that creates is you've got a whole bunch of people who are physicians who are looking at one particular organ. Somebody looks at your hand and says, I won't look at your wrist, but I'll look at your hands. I'm a specialist on hands. I'm a specialist on teeth, but not of your gum. I'm a specialist of this and not of that. And so it's like saying that I'm a photographer, but I won't photograph your face, but I'll photograph your eyes. It's a very strange world we live in. There's a super specialization, and a poor old MBBS will not get any job. So you've got to get specialized and specialized and specialized. And in the process of specializing and breaking the human being down into bits and pieces and fluids and plasma and molecules, you have lost the individual. But there are very few who are really people who want to heal you, who are doctors. And one such person is Dr. He is the doctor that we have. And I have friends of mine who have had cardiac issues. They go to him. He's the one who decides everything. So he's a leader of a cult. The cult is called the Ravichandran cult, of which he is Guru Ravichandran, and there are a lot of followers for the cult. I don't know about Nityananda and various cults, but in Madras Club we have a strong cult called the Ravichandran cult, where he gives out jnana. Yeah, and he gives a jnana on salt. So everybody says, you take this, he says, don't take this. Now, this is also another very strange thing. You know, I have friends who own hospitals, and you call them and say, how's business? What do you mean? I mean, rainy season, we have a lot of people coming. Now nobody's coming. I mean, they're so sad that people are not coming. Here is one person saying, don't eat salt, don't come to me. So it is very, very rare that you'll find doctors who say, don't come to me. Most doctors will say, come to me, spend money, let me buy a Lamborghini, let me buy a Ferrari. Where everything in the world is equated with money and monetary success, but nothing lasts if you don't have health. Now I come to a very strange thing. A friend of mine, a very close friend, had a problem with kidney, and he is an absolutely talented individual, and I love him to bits because he is my most loyal associate. And his kidney failed mysteriously, and eventually he got a transplant. He's alive and he's kicking and he's doing so well. And I have to thank a distant island for that. There is a doctor, which we all know, but there is a distant island somewhere in the Pacific, and that's called Easter Islands. You know, Easter Islands is an island which is furthest away from the world, and it happens to be a place where there is an extinct volcano, and it's called Rapa Nui. And people sailed there and found that two of the islands are there. That island, the Easter Island, is very strange because it's got these giant sculptures of some heads. But people live in one island. In one island they have these sculptures, and another island is an extinct volcano. So people sail from this island, go into that extinct volcano and sit there and mysteriously feel better and come back. So a scientific expedition goes there and digs in all this goo that is there in the bottom of the extinct volcano, and they manage to pick up some bacteria and they isolate it. Without that rapamycin, none of these transplants would have happened. And this was discovered by accident by a team of doctors who landed up there, and you found a wonder drug today which allows friends of mine to have had a transplanted kidney. It's what allows your stent to have a medical coated stent so that your body doesn't reject something. As doctor had mentioned, and when doctor was talked about how he managed to get kidneys from different blood groups to be possible, each doctor is pushing the frontier. And it is this frontier that is being pushed which allows our average lifespan to increase for us to live longer. But unfortunately, when we live longer, we face dementia. We face Parkinson's. Living long is such a curse. As Bhagwan Rajneesh had said, the greatest cleansing factor in the world is not kidney but death. It cleanses. Even the worst fellow has to die and go. Even the most arrogant person has to die and go. And death is inevitable. But as we postpone it, we are dealing with systemic illnesses. Illnesses which did not come from a pathogen. Illnesses which suddenly appears from nowhere. And as Dr. Balasubramanian so eloquently said about water, about air, and we seem to have no control over it. And the fact that if we asked for water in the film industry when we were young, we were seen as wimps. Bottle thanni dhaan kudipaan. So as though asking for water, decent water, is wrong. I mean, today everybody has bottled water, and more bottles, more microplastics. More microplastics, different set of problems. So how do you live? Microplastics is a problem, air is a problem, you can't breathe, you can't drink water. Because if you're going to drink water, you're going to have microplastics. If you're going to have air, you've got AQI index up, oh, it's up, Delhi is up further. And then he says you have to come and sit and measure your blood pressure. Doctor, how can we measure our blood pressure when Arnab Goswami is telling the nation wants to know? So you should have said that along with that, hear the Tirupugal or hear some music and calm down and not just watch TV. And once you're calmed down, you take your blood pressure. Otherwise, you'll start eating more medicines, which in turn will mean more statins, which in turn can mean more rhabdomyolysis and more work for you. So in this really bizarre world of medicines and more medicines and living long and having the threat of dementia and people talking nonsense like I am right now. But in this bizarre world, what we need desperately is in life you can have everything. But I'd say you must have one thing, a good doctor. Without a good doctor, you are in trouble. And may the good doctor who has wisdom and not only knowledge, May the doctor who is evangelical to change the world, may the doctor who says, don't come to me, stay healthy and I'm happy with you, be my friend, continue walking, continue lifting weights, and you should be okay, is, I just love this man. And that's the only reason I'm here. And I hope I don't ever have to go to the extent I keep drinking water so that I don't have to be your patient. But on that good note, enjoy life. Lokha sakamsta sugino bhavantu sarve vas sugino bhavantu sarve santu nirayam.